Hey everybody, this is Chef Mareya with eatcleaner.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make a healthy brie and apple pizza. So delicious. It's got that dessert feel to it, but the combination of the sweet and the savory with the brie cheese is really a winner. So let's get started. I've got my dough here all ready to go, and I've made it using a combination of an all-purpose gluten-free mix and whole wheat flour. And I use the gluten-free, even though not everybody is gluten-free, but you hear a lot of people going that way. It's just a healthier kind of dough, and I like it in a pizza because it ends up cooking almost like a cracker. So it's got that thin crust, which I love, really tasty. So I've got my dough here. I'm going to start working it, and then I'm going to top it with the sliced green apples, some brie cheese, and then I've got some stevia sweetener, which is an all-natural sweetener that gives it just a little bit of really good flavor, but without any calories, because stevia is all natural and it's calorie free. So love that. And then I've got some cinnamon to top it off with. So I'm going to roll this out. And when you're working with a gluten-free dough, I just want to warn you, it can be kind of sticky. So that's where I like to use either whole grain flour or even a little bit of cornmeal with the flour to just get it from not sticking. So I'm going to roll this out, and when I make a pizza, I usually like to kind of create a little bit of an organic looking crust. It doesn't have to be super uniform or perfectly round. I actually prefer a rectangular shape because it's easier to roll that way. Okay, now I'm going to take my knife and just trim the edges a little bit. And you can make this personal size or it can be enough to share. Kind of gently work it out. Now I've got my baking sheet, which I've already pre-sprayed with some nonstick cooking spray. Slide that onto there carefully so it doesn't break apart. Okay, now I'm going to take my cooking spray again, just cover the surface of this so it doesn't dry out. And then I'm going to take my brie here and cut this into thin slices. You might not think of putting brie on a pizza, but if you've ever had brie with apples, you know it's a great combination. Melts nicely, and then when the apples cook, they caramelize. They're just really good with the cheese. Okay, so I'm going to take the cheese and just kind of layer it across the pizza. Just like so. Fill in the corners here. And then I'm going to add my apples in over those. And this is a great activity for your kids to get involved with too. You know, I always like to pull my kids into the kitchen whenever I can. I think it teaches them nutrition, first of all, and how to create, you know, be creative, which they are inherently, but it's nice when they can play a hand in it. And you know, if your kids are involved, they're going to be much more inclined to try new things, which is always a plus. Okay, I've layered those. I've got a lot of apples with my brie. And then I'm going to take the stevia syrup and just drizzle that over here. Now, if you don't have access to this where you live, you can make just a simple syrup with dry stevia and water, half and half basically, the same amount of stevia to water. And then a dusting of cinnamon. Just like that. All right, gorgeous. We're going to put that in the oven, let it bake for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until the cheese starts to melt and the crust starts to get a little bit golden brown. We'll pop it out, cut it up, and give it a try. So don't go away. Okay, I just took my brie and apple pizza out of the oven. It smells amazing because that cinnamon when it cooks, out of this world. So I'm going to just transfer it over here. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's going to be so tasty too. Let me cut up a piece and Let's give it a try. I've got actually my pizza cutter here. Just gonna hold it down so that it doesn't pop off. And I made it intentionally really thin, this crust, because I want to taste the toppings. I'm not so interested in tasting a bunch of doughy crust. So let's give it a try. That's a great flavor combination. Love that, the caramelized apple with the brie, the cinnamon, and a little hint of that stevia sweetener. That's a winner. I'm Chef Mareya with eatcleaner.com. I hope you'll try my healthy pizza with brie and apples and enjoy it in great health. I'll see you really soon.